Welcome back to EVE 101, presented by EVE101.com and CrossingZebras.com. As with any massively multiplayer online game, players band together due to a variety of reasons. These can be due to real-world relations between the players, common interest in a specific activity within the game's content such as PvE or PvP, or through other means. With EVE Online, this is no different. Players bind themselves together in a variety of ways. Most commonly, this is under the banner of a corporation and an alliance. While discussing player groups within EVE, we first need to relate to what a corporation and an alliance are. In a simplistic sense, an EVE Online corporation is no different than a guild in any other game. They're a single grouping of players that fall under one name. This group of players can have a specialized purpose within the game, such as a mining corporation, or simply due to sharing a lot of similar personality traits or previous gaming experience with one another. That is a concept that is easy to convey. What is difficult for a new player to understand is what exactly an alliance is. In the literal sense, within EVE Online, an alliance is a collection of corporations that decide to unite under a singular banner for an expressed purpose or reason. An analogy to help explain this can come in the form of the United States. Within the USA, we have different states. We'll treat those as corporations. They're all independent of one another, yet still band together under a singular banner, the United States of America, which we can call the Alliance. Corporations and alliances alike have their own ideals, goals, and projects that they want to see finished. Whether it is to take systems within the nullsec regions of the game, or simply to make the most ISK per member doing a PvE activity. There are corporations and alliances throughout EVE Online doing various things amongst the gameplay. To join a corporation, a player can use the in-game recruitment window where corporations post a recruitment notice. They can also refer to the corporation recruitment section of the EVE Online forums. There is also the in-game chat channel called Recruitment to find corporations looking for new members. Each corporation has different requirements for joining and posts their recruitment processes in various locations. So it's generally a good idea to look at several corporations before settling on one. To create a corporation, a player must only have the base level skills of corporation management and around 2 million ISK in their wallet. The base level of corporation management skill allows a corporation to have a cap of 20 members. Each increased level adds 20 more available slots. There are other skills that can help increase the total number of players that can be part of that corporation. The player must also be docked in a station, and upon clicking the Create Corporation option in the corporation window, they are presented with a new window full of options to choose from. These range from a corp logo with in-game art assets, choosing a name, a ticker, and a tax rate. The tax rate is simply a way for the corporation to collect money from its collected members, doing things like shooting Npsi pirates, collecting player bounties, and so forth. It's a passive way to build money as a corporation, but generally, most corporations use other methods to earn their money. A corporation can also set a URL as their homepage, so that players looking at the corp can refer to it and look at it. Sometimes this is left blank. Other times it can lead to an actual out-of-game website or forum, as well as just leading to a joke webpage for the fun of it. The description box is where corporations can put in information they want other players to see when they look up their player corporation. A similar process is done when creating an alliance, except with minor changes. To create an alliance, the creator of the alliance, which is called an executor, must have the prerequisite skill called Empire Control, and it must be trained to level 5. Due to that specified prerequisite skill, there are other players who offer a service in which they use an alternative character to help groups create an alliance faster, just for a nominal fee. The new alliance must also make a 1 billion ISK payment, which is taken automatically upon the creation of the alliance. For an alliance, there's also the monthly fee of 2 million ISK per member corporation. So, for example, if an alliance has 10 member corporations, their monthly bill comes to 20 million ISK in maintenance fees. If an alliance fails to pay its maintenance fee on time, the alliance becomes disbanded. Within both corporations and alliances, players can take on roles through the in-game mechanics. These range from being a recruiter, who approves applications of the corporation, to being an accountant, who maintains the finances of their group. There is even an option to be able to add and remove items from the corporation shared hangar. We'll talk more about hangars in our video on the in-game UI though. There are many different roles a player can have within their corporation or alliance. When it comes to coalitions, however, due to the lack of in-game mechanics, players tend to work around them in various ways, and it differs from coalition to coalition. When people talk about EVE in the general video game press, they usually focus on the inter-player wars over nullsec systems. These groups have, due to the mechanics pertaining to nullsec, set up their own little kingdoms and empires ruled by the players. In nullsec, there are player alliances that control a group of systems to call their own, free of the NPC police. Think of this as the frontier of the Old West. Alliances have even gone so far as to set up what are called coalitions. Much like an alliance is a collection of corporations, a player coalition is a collection of alliances unified under one banner. When we liken the United States to an alliance, think of the United Nations as a coalition. There is no specific in-game mechanics pertaining to coalitions at the time, however, as they are a result of the sandbox gameplay of EVE Online. These coalitions and alliances go to war over various systems for more or less financial reasons. When discussing these player groups, we must also discuss what standings are. In Part 2, we explained what security status is. If you take that concept, a security status assigned to a player, and modify it slightly, you get what are called corporation or alliance standings. These are a way for player groups to help identify allies or enemies while playing the game. For a simplified version of this mechanic, most groups fall under one of several states. Corporations, alliances, and characters marked as blue are friendly and are generally not to be shot. If a corporation, alliance, or character is marked as gray, then they are neutral and neither a friend nor a foe. Groups listed as orange or red are enemies. There are more nuances to these standings, specifically due to diplomatic reasons between the two player groups. There is another type of player group called an Npsi group. Npsi stands for Not Purple, Shoot It. This specifically refers to an act of simply shooting any ship that is not part of a player's fleet. When players are in a fleet together, their appearance on screen shows up as purple, hence the name. Different Npsi groups and organizations run fleets regularly. Some examples include Red vs. Blue Ganked and Spectre Fleet, just to name a few. These groups normally form their fleets simply through their respective in-game chat channels and organize themselves that way, though some have even set up their own out-of-game forums and websites. That's all for this overview of player groups within EVE Online. For more breakdowns of the EVE mechanics, you can visit eve101.com, and for articles and discussions about EVE Online, visit crossingzebras.com.